Morning, guys. This is Mrs. Amano. This is our Unit 1 book. Scale drawings. You're supposed to write your name here. I'm going to put Mrs. Amano. You write your name, and then I need you to put what grade you're in. So it's either 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th. This is the fun book we decided to go with because you can color when you are bored. So you can doodle on it, you can color. It should be fun. Have fun with it, okay? So we also have a calendar. So the calendar looks like this. It is our August calendar. You can write down important dates and things, and then September as well, and then my reflections. So lesson 1, right here, it says my reflections. What are scaled copies? I can describe some characteristics of a scaled copy. I can tell whether or not a figure is a scaled copy of another figure. So those are our goals for the day. Okay, so Unit 1 goals on page 2 of your book. Okay, so flip to page 8. What are scaled copies? Okay, so we're going to start right here. So we are on page 8 of our math book, and it says, what are scaled copies? Let's explore scaled copies. 1.1, printing portraits. If you have your phone, you can take a picture of this QR code right here. Take a picture of it, and it will pop up with this fun activity online. If you don't have a camera that will do this, you go to our Canvas module lesson for today, and I will have a link that you can click and press. So you would pause here, and you would play this little activity, and then you would move on. So it says, look at portraits A through E. How is each one of the same as or different from the original portrait of the student? So you have A, B, C, D, and E. You have to see how they're the same or different, right? If you look at A, it looks like it was squished this way, so it's skinnier, right, than the original. I'm going to write original up here. So this one looks like it was squished, like you took it and you squished it, made it skinnier, or maybe you just pulled it this way. This one looks like you took it and you squished it down. So this one looks skinnier. This one looks like it was squished down. This one just looks like it's a smaller copy. D looks like it's a larger copy and an enlargement. And then E, it looks like it was like twisted. Okay, and that would be number 1 on our page 8. Number 2, it says some of the portraits A through E are scaled copies of the original portrait. Which ones do you think are scaled copies? Explain your reasoning. Well, I think it's going to be C and D, because this one looks exactly the same, and this one looks exactly the same. This just looks like it's smaller, and this one looks like it's larger. This one, his face isn't the same width, right? If I took my ruler and I measured it, I'm sure it would not be the same width. So let me find my ruler. Sorry, guys, thanks for being patient. So his face up here is to this mark, and then down here, it's not, right? It's much skinnier. This one, his face is almost an inch, and in the original, it's not. So this one is definitely fatter, right? If I do a diagonal, if I want to measure them diagonally, I can take and show the angles that way. So on the original, if I draw a diagonal through, goes from here to here, it goes right underneath his nose, right? And then for this diagonal, from corner to corner, it's similar, but not quite, right? And even in this shirt looks way smaller than this one. And then this one right here, if I do a diagonal, right? And this one is a diagonal. You can see the varying steepness of the line. Diagonal for this one. And a diagonal for this one's going to be weird because it's totally tilted, right? Twisted. So let's see. This one goes above his. I'm a little off. Let's fix that one. So it goes on his shoulder, on his shoulder, on his shoulder. They're all varying degrees, right? But this is about the same as these two, the steepness of the line, right? This one is not as tall, this one is not as tall, and this one looks like it's steeper. So if we were measuring the angles, this would be a higher angle, right? So if I have this one and I leave my ruler like this, I can transfer it down. That would be the same angle, but then you see it wouldn't be the same angle because it should be down here. And this one is not the same angle because it should be up here. And then this one is not the same angle because it should be down here. So that's how I can tell that they are a little different. All right, we've moved on to page 9. And at the top, it says, what do you think scaled copy means? Well, a scaled copy, let's write it down together. The camera. A scaled copy is a copy of a picture that changes in size but does not change in shape. Period. Okay, so you could have also said a scaled copy is a duplicate of a picture with no parts of it distorted, though it could be larger, smaller, or the same size. A scaled copy is also a copy of a picture that has been enlarged or reduced in size, but nothing else changes. Okay? Next section, we have another QR code. So if you have your phone, you can scan that QR code and go to this activity. It's an interactive digital version available right there. So whenever you see this QR code, it means you can scan it and it will actually pull up the activity. Here is an original drawing of the letter F and some other drawings. It's actually on my next page. It's right here. Okay. It says identify all the drawings that are scaled copies of the original letter F. Explain how you know. So how would we know? Let's pause. So first, for the original, I'm going to measure the side length. So I know that from here to here is 1, 2, 3, 4. And from here to here is 2. So to be a scaled copy, it has to be similar dimensions, like doubles, or if you divide it in half, things like that. So let's see if these ones are similar. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 by 1, 2, 3, 6 by 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 by 4. This one is clearly slanted. It's not even the same as the original. So drawing 4 is out. Drawing 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 by 1, 2, 3. Drawing 6, 1, 2 by 1. Drawing 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 12 by 6. So now we have to see which ones are scaled copies and which ones are not. So let's see. Number 1. 1 is 6 by 3. So double of 2 is 4, double of 3 is 6. So I would say drawing number 1 is a scaled copy. So drawing number 1 is a yes. Check. Drawing number 2, you have 8 by 4. 2 times 2 is 4, so you're doubling it. 4 times 2 is 8, so you're doubling it. So drawing number 2 works. Drawing number 3, 4 and 4. And if we go back to our original, these two numbers are not the same, right? It's a 4 and a 2. It's like this is 2 and this is double to make 4. So this one does not work. So I'm going to cross out drawing number 3. That one doesn't work. I'm going to come down here and use the same blue so we're on the same page. And then drawing number 5, it's 6 by 3. So 3 and 6, right? So it would be 2, and then 1 more would be 3. And then if you had 4 plus 2 more, it'd be 6. So drawing 5 is a check. Drawing 6, 1 by 2. If we cut that in half, it would be 1 by 2. Check. And then this one right here. Drawing 7 is 12 by 6. This would be a check. But then you go back and you look at this little one right here, right? So it's only a length of 1. I forgot about that. So that's a length of 1. This is the length of 1.5 because it increased by a half, right? Half of 2 is 1, so 2 plus 1 is 3. Half of 4 is 2, so 4 plus 2 is 6. So this would increase by 1. Half of 1 is a half, so this would be 1.5. Then we have 8 and 4. This would be 2. So you go from 1 to 2. So times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. Right here, this one doesn't even matter because it's 3. That doesn't work. This one is slanted, doesn't work. This one is a 2. So up here, we have the same as a 2, right? So it would have to be measurements of 4 and 8. So drawing 5 is out. Drawing 6, it's a whole 1. And if we look up here, for it to be a whole 1, it has to be a 2 and a 4. Drawing 6 is out. Right here, 1, 2, 3. So if we go from 1 to 3, we're multiplying by 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 4 times 3 is 12. Yep, that one works. So unfortunately, it would be drawings number 1, 2, and 7. Those ones don't work. So 1, 2, and 7 are all scaled, SCALED copies of the original. Right? We can say, I know because they are not stretched differently in one direction. They are enlarged evenly in both vertical and horizontal directions. Okay, so at the bottom where it asks you to say why, I would write something to the fact that I know this because they are not stretched differently in one direction. They are enlarged evenly in both vertical and horizontal directions. Okay, number 2, examine all the scaled copies more closely, specifically the lengths of each part of the letter F. How do they compare to the original? What do you notice? Well, I went straight to number 2 apparently, and I just started counting. So we kind of already went over what we noticed. But if you wanted to write right here, you would write something like, in the scaled copies, every segment is the same number of times as long as the matching segment in the original drawing. Right? So we always referred back to our original drawing. Another thing you could say is, in the scaled copies, all segments keep the same relationships as in the original. The original drawing of F is 4 units tall. Its top horizontal is 2 units wide, and the shorter horizontal is 1 unit wide. In drawing 1, the figure F is 6 units tall, 3 units wide in the first horizontal, and 1.5 in the second. In each scaled copy, the width is half of the height, just as in the original drawing of F. Okay? And the shorter horizontal segment is half of the longer one. Okay? So that's 1 and 2 on page 10.